everyone, I'm Ultima, and welcome to today's Genshin Impact character tier list. Disclaimer, I've recorded this a couple times, and every time it just hasn't turned out very well, so I'm kind of just going to speedrun put them in tiers, and then maybe whenever we get into actually seeing the game in the future, I'll talk about them a little bit more, I guess. This is going to be like a very brief introduction. If they are very important characters, then I might say a little bit more about them, but we'll kind of just go for it, I guess. And I'll just explain my tiers. So S plus is kind of two characters related to Ultima, and then plus probably my most favorite character. They're like all equally my most favorites, but two of them are very special, I guess, in that sense. S is like always in my team, almost always my first pick kind of thing. It's not like it's kind of play style is my preference for their playstyle, I guess, is how it goes, because I love every character in the game. The Travelers have their own tier with Aloy because depending on which one you pick, the situation is different. Their mannerisms are a little different. You know, Aether might do something better than Lumine. You know, it's just hard to tell. And Paimon's not here on the list either, which is unfortunate. Paimon is an honorary S. I love Paimon. Paimon is the mascot, for those that don't know. Whenever I do make content on it, don't worry, you will not miss Paimon. She is there, always. Right. Okay. So, let's get to it. So, Jean is probably an A. Acting Grandmaster of the Knights of Avonius. I might just kind of put in what they're affiliated with. So she's in Mondstadt. Librarian at the Knights of Avonius, so she's also a Mondstadt. Outlander of the Knights of Avonius. Oh, that's Amber. Oh, this is Lisa, by the way. Sorry, I should say their names. Noelle is a training knight for the Knights of Avonius. She kind of acts as a maid. I don't know Barbara's title at the Church of Favonius, but that's also in Mondstadt. She's also Jean's younger sister. Sucrose is an alchemist at the Knights of Avonius, very fond of sucrose. Fischl is part of the Adventurers Guild. Mona is... she's kind of training underneath the Hexen Circle, which is kind of a more recent thing that has been around for a while, but they haven't really done too much with it. Kaya is the, if I remember correctly, the cavalry captain at the Knights of Avonius. So far everybody is in Mondstadt at the moment because this is kind of the standard people at the start. D-Luke is the winery owner in Mondstadt. He runs Dawn Winery. These, Sucrose, Fischl, and D-Luke, along with Barbara, were my very early game team. Sucrose was buffs, Fish was a sub DPS, D-Luke is the DPS, and Barbara was my healer. I think Barbara's one of the few people that can revive people without too many extra like constellations or anything. Razor is a poor little boy. I don't know about this one. He'll be... I probably wouldn't necessarily pick him for my team, so I'll put him here. Poor little boy who was raised by wolves, but they did a good job. And he's kind of finding his way a bit more now, so it's good. Bennett is with the Adventurers Guild as well. Very unlucky boy, unfortunately. Gets triggers traps and gets locked in caves all the time. Venti, we'll chuck Venti in now. Venti is the Archon of Mondstadt, which essentially means Venti is the strongest animal wielder in Teyvat, kind of. That's kind of what we're going with. Venti has a Gnosis, which gives him the power. And he's essentially supposed to be the protector of that section of land, kind of, that city at least. Klee is the Spark Knight that's in the Knights of Avonius. Her mom is very formidable, and you cannot mess with her little Klee and get away with it. So, best not mess with Klee. Although, I think she still has to obey what Jean says, so... and I'm meaning Alice there too, for that one. So that's kind of funny. Ningguang is from Liyue, and she's kind of runs the city there. And she kind of tells Beto what to do. Beto is kind of her pirate friend. Very fond of those two. They're getting a lot more screen time recently, and I've been enjoying it. Keqing, kind of, she kind of works under Ning. Yeah, I think that's how that works. Zhanling is a chef in Liyue. She is kind of the bridge between you going between Mondstadt and Liyue, because you run into her looking for ingredients. She has a little friend called Guoba, who is very cute, a little bear. Chongyun, probably a bee as well. He's an exorcist in Liyue. Xingqiu, I probably will pick Xingqiu more likely for my teams. Xingqiu is kind of a rich kid, but he's not like overly pompous or anything. Good hydro application or field. Probably why I'll give him A. Chi-Chi is a zombie child. At Boo Boo Pharmacy in Liyue. She forgets a lot and whatnot. She's very cute. We give Chi-Chi pats on the head. This is Child, my honorary S+ guy. He's technically with the bad guys, but we've got to that point where, do we think they're bad guys? We're questioning who's the bad guy at this point in the game, and the game has been out like 6 years, I think. So, I think we've been questioning that for a while, whether they're the bad guys, but we're really getting it now. Diona must come out later. Diona is part of Mondstadt as well. She works in... It's not Angel Shear, the Cat's Tail, which is a bar. She's a bartender. Doesn't really like drunk people though, so it's an interesting idea. Zhongli is the Archon of Liyue. Liyue is the element there is Geo, so rocks. And he doesn't really want to be responsible for them anymore, pretty much. So he faked his death. Certainly a way to do it. Xinyan, I do love Xinyan, but I don't know. I might not pick her as often as I would like to say I would. She's a shielder. She doesn't have much affiliation with a certain organization. She's just kind of a musician that does rock music. Albedo is an alchemist in the Knights of Favonius. He's also a homunculus and has an affiliation with a dead dragon on a mountain, as well as his creator is part of the Hexen Circle, which is where Alice is part of. I don't know if I mentioned them already, but I have now. So technically his mother or creator or whatever word you want to use for that. Her name is Rhindaughter or Gold. Can use either of those, I believe. Ganyu works under Ningguang as well. She's kind of a workaholic, very sleepy and very cute, but Zhao's play style... I'm not fond of characters that injure themselves, but I think Zhao's character has grown on me a bit more, and there aren't too many strong animo DPSs potentially. So I think I'll put him A. Hu Tao wants to be as injured as possible, and I'm like I just said, I'm not a fan of that, so I probably put her C. She is from Liyue. Zhao is from Liyue as well. Rosaria is part of the Church of Avonius. She is a nun, but she certainly doesn't act like one. Yanfei is a lawyer in Liyue, I believe. I find her quite fun to play, but you'd probably down the list a little. Eula is, I can't remember her station in the Knights of Avonius. I don't remember. But Eula can be very cute. I do enjoy her. Kazuha's kind of a guy that just walks around a lot. And there aren't too many people, I think, that do his role entirely, so I'll just put him there. Miyako's a hyped character, and I find that I tend to steer away from hyped characters to a degree, which her playstyle does not really for me, I guess. Yoimiya, on the other hand, a non-hyped character, and she's very cute, very sparkly. And they are from Kazuha as well, because Kazuha, Ayaka, and Yoimiya are from Inazuma, which is the land of Electro, I guess. Sayu is a cute little ninja who is also from Inazuma. I don't know what her affiliation would be. Yoimiya is she makes fireworks. Kazuha's wandering. I can't say wanderer because this man down here somewhere. He actually just is wanderer, so doesn't quite work. Aniyaka is the second head of the Kamisato clan. Her brother is the one who actually leads it. He is, yeah. Ayato is probably a B, I think. I'll just shove him in since I was talking about him anyway. Raiden is probably an A. She was a hyped character. I do like her. She is the Archon of Inazuma. She's also Genshin's parody of Raiden Mei from Honkai Impact 3rd, as well as Honkai Star Rail's Acheron. The Star Rail came later. Sara is also from Inazuma and is Raiden's right hand. As you can see, I think of her more highly. Kakami is also from Inazuma. She's from the opposing faction to Raiden, which is the Watatsumi Island. I don't know if that's what they were just called. Tom serves the Kamisato clan. He's kind of like their butler, and they're like, I don't want to say servant. That doesn't sound very nice. But I know that Ayato gives him way too many suspicious treats just because he's curious. They're all edible, but you know, Ito is part of the Arataki gang, which is his own gang, which is pretty much a gang of delinquents that don't really do a lot. They're not overly naughty or anything like that. They're just a band of silly little guys, pretty much. Probably my favorite voice actor. I can't think of the words for it, but the favorite favorite when it comes to the voice acting his voice actor does. It's always fun. Love him every time. Goro is probably just a good boy. Quite often goes in certain teams, so you will find yourself using him more often if you want to use certain people. But I'd probably put him in B. Also part of Inazuma because he's the right hand to Kokami. Shenhe is from Liyue. She is affiliated with the Adepti, so she was raised together with Ganyu. I didn't mention the Adepti, but that's fine. And I'm very fond of Shenhe. She is part of a team that I use a lot these days. Yunjin I probably don't use too often. She's an opera singer from Liyue, but I don't think we actually see too often. So this is Yalan. She's pretty much an intelligence, head of the intelligence, but kind of shady, but also not shady. Like, she does in the background intelligence for Ningguang. She's from Liyue. Shinobu is kind of the second hand, the right hand to Ito, but she probably keeps the gang more in check than Ito does. And she's always fun. They all are from Inazuma. Those two. Hazo was fun. He actually is an anime DPS. I do kind of forget he exists, but I would pick him over some other people. I do actually find playing him fun. So I guess in that sense, maybe he could be A, but I think it's better. Tainari and Kale were the introduction of Dendro, because Dendro had been out about for a while, but didn't get introduced until we got to Sumeru, which is the location after Inazuma. Kale is friends with Amber, and I'd probably put her in B, I think. Tainari, I'd probably put in A. They're both forest rangers in Sumeru. Dory is a merchant in Sumeru. She's quite fun. I'll probably put her in B. She is a electro healer, which is rare. I think there's only 2 of them. Shinobu is the other one. Sino is quite fun. I'll probably put him in A. I don't tend to choose him very often, but he's very fun. Especially if you put these two together. Candace, unfortunately, I really love her character and her design, but her placement in teams is difficult. I'd like put her A because I love her character and her design so much, but for team wise, she doesn't really go into a lot of teams, unfortunately. I thought I'd like Nilo, but I found that I don't use her a lot. Nahida is the Archon of Sumeru. I did use her quite a lot, but my main teams have changed over time. But she was in one of my main teams, and she's very, very good. Layla's a good shield. I probably use her more often than I realize. Wanderer. Now, Wanderer is an interesting one. So the other people I kind of talked about, Nahida's Sumeru, obviously. Nilo, Dori, Sumeru. Wanderer is originally from Inazuma. And then he went and joined the Fatui, so same place as Child. And then he wasn't happy with all the stuff that he had done, so he tried to erase himself from the world and was reborn as Wanderer. I'm not fond of Sundares, but he actually has grown on me and I do quite like him. His interactions with certain people have made his tsundere tendencies. If you don't know what that means, how do I explain it tsundere? They don't want to get caught caring, I guess, would be the simplest way. The definition might be a little different, but that's easy enough, I guess. So he interacts with Nahida, and that's one that works. And then there's another one with another character further on that does the same thing. He's warmed up to me. I pick him sometimes. Farzan, I like Farzan, but I'll probably put a B. You have to use, I think, an Animo DPS for Farzan to really work for a team. We'll just put him in S. I don't use him very often at the moment, but he is a good character. He's made even better if you have him interact with Kave, who honestly I would probably put by how much I'd probably pick him, I would probably end up putting him in B. But their interactions, they argue and bicker like an old married couple, and it is probably one of the best duos, in my opinion. So, very, very fond of them together. Kave as a character to play, maybe not. It's hard to say. I don't know when I last picked him on purpose. So, we'll put Yao Yao up with Chi Chi. Yao Yao is from Leeway, and she was advertised really early on, and I think I don't remember what it was, but it was a graphic with Chi Chi and Yao Yao, and we knew about her for a very long time, but they couldn't release her until Dendro came out. And with Sumeru, she did come out. Finally. I've been waiting so long for her. She is very cute. I love her very much. I love Dia very much as well. Not a very hyped character. In my opinion, good pyro or fulfilled pyro application. I love her very much. She was in my team. I'll just put my more recent team. So had these two and two more characters. One will be up here, and another one we will get to eventually. And then obviously I had my older team, which is here. I want to move them to the right place. Yeah, and then my other new team, which is Shenhua, but that's that's fine. We'll get to that eventually. I forget Mika exists. I'm very sorry to him. He kind of came out at I guess a bad time. He is supposed to be a buff for Eula, who I don't really use. Overall, he's a good boy, but he's not a memorable character, unfortunately. But you know, that makes me feel bad to say that. Baiju, I think I'd put Baiju in A. So Baiju also has Chang Chang, if I remember the name correctly. And he is a... Oh, I stopped doing that, didn't I? Stop saying where people were from. Oh, who have I done so far? I think I got Wander. Alhaitham is a scribe in Sumeru, so he works at the academia. They're very knowledge in Sumeru. Knowledge is key, and there. Candace is from the desert. She is the leader of Aru Village, which is in Sumeru as well. Hopefully I'm not saying Inazuma instead of Sumeru, because I think I might have done that. Dia is ahead of the... Is she the head of it? I think she is. The head of the mercenary group in Sumeru. So she's a mercenary for hire. Good friends with Candace. Mika is... I can't remember what he's supposed to be classed as. He's with the Knights of Avonius, and he does the mapping and spreading messages. I'm sorry to him, I have forgotten. And Baiju owns Boo Pharmacy that employs Chi Chi, and he looks after Chi Chi and makes sure that she's doing well, and is kind of aiming to try and help Chi Chi while also looking after others. Had made a deal with Chang Chang to also better his own health. Kirara is a yokai from Inazuma. She is pretty much a cat delivery service. And she's very fun and bubbly. Then we go into Fontaine, apparently, already. Okay. I am doing record time, so we'll see whether I actually like this one. Lenny is not the first person you see in Fontaine. I'll probably go... I probably will pick him a lot of the time. He's one of the pyros that I will. He does hurt himself, but he can heal himself. And he's from Fontaine. He is technically part of the Fatui, but you don't know that to begin with. Although now all of the art, initially when they teased him, he didn't have any of the Fatui sigils on any of his stuff, and then after the story had happened, they changed them and added the Fatui sigils to his like teaser art, I guess. His drip marketing. Same happened with Lynette, who I guess I'll put her in A as well. They are siblings. They are both part of an orphanage. No. Yeah, I'll leave them there. And they do a magician's act as well. And also part of that orphanage is Fremine. Now, I actually really enjoy playing Fremine. It's different. You want to freeze them and then hit them with your claymore and shatter them, I believe is how it works, which is different. It was a different play style, and I actually really enjoyed it. So I'll put Fremine also in A, and they're all part of the Fatui. And the orphanage is run by Alakino, who I'll just put an S now, since I've segued to that. Alakino is, I don't know if I say that right, but that's how they say that in the game. Alakino is a Fatui harbinger, just like Child. She's a descendant of the Crimson Moon Dynasty from Khaenri'ah. I did say I'd add a little extra if there was things important to them. And Khaenri'ah is not a place on Teyvat, and Kaya is technically a descendant of that as well. But they don't mention that for a very long time. Neuvillette? I don't play Neuvillette very well. Would be what I'd say. I'm gonna put an A. I would pick him, but I'd say I'm bad. I'm bad at playing him. I tend to get knocked out of attacks very easily, and I don't know. My timing is bad, I guess. He can heal himself, but he also injures himself. It's fine. He is the dragon sovereign of Hydro. So he's a big deal. A very big deal. He's technically should be stronger than the Archons themselves, because it's like primordial power, like all the way back before them kind of deal. So Mr. Man's a big deal, but he's just he's a silly little man trying to figure out how humans work. So honestly, he's kind of cute in what he does. Alright, so we'll put an S. Prison Warden of Fontaine works closely with Neuvillette. They are kind of friends. They band off each other. It's kind of funny. They're good friendship, those two. Very fond of Riley. He also injures himself, but heals himself. Fontaine's kind of the place of injuring yourself and then healing yourself. Or something to do with not being able to be healed or something. It's his bond of life was something they added for Fontaine. Arena is the Archon yes and no. So she played the Archon, has the Archon powers, is kind of the vessel for the Archon, but wasn't necessarily the Archon. It's a little odd, that one, but she's still technically the Archon, but she doesn't have the power anymore. You had to be there. But she's still recognized as the Archon. I don't know if in story-wise she's still recognized as the Archon, but she went off to do other things. She can either injure people or heal them, so that's that whole thing that Fontaine wants to stick with. I'm warming to using her a bit more. I do use her in a team that I use more often now. I will probably put Charlotte in C. Charlotte's a reporter from Fontaine. I can't remember the newspaper that she works for. But I would probably say that she is probably a C for me. I don't use it too often. I don't dislike her. Navia, we'll just put an S. Navia is a mafia boss. She is fun and always looking to have a good, fun time and look after people. And she's, I think, pretty good DPS these days too. So I'm very fond of Navia. Chevrolet, we'll put in C. Unfortunately, Chevrolet, she's essentially one of the, like, a marksman of the police in Fontaine, whatever that department is called. Unfortunately, she's one of the 2 healers that can't heal in co-op, which is, I don't play co-op often, but when I do, I play with people I know, and you don't. Yeah, we just never bothered to use Chevrolet or a character later on that I do like, but it was a shame she couldn't heal in co-op either. Which I'll just put her in now. I do quite like Mizuki. I might put her in A. I like Mizuki. Yeah, I think if I'm playing by myself, Mizuki is quite an option. She's a different healer. I think you quite often want people that are doing stuff off field because she can do on field damage, I guess, while also healing the party. It's kind of how, I guess, Kokomi works, except Kokomi can heal in co-op. Shenyun, I'm very sorry for not remembering how to pronounce the name, because we always called her Cloud Retainer. Cloud Retainer is she is an Adepti from Liyue, so, which, right hand, not right hand, but, next down, they answer to the Archon, but he's not really doing anything anymore now, is he? And she raised Shenhe and Ganyu. Very obsessed with food, and her and all the other Adepti are just, it's fun. It's just fun. She's a decent healer. I enjoy playing Garming. He's a wushu dancer, I believe, from Liyue. He is fun to play. I do like the character. I do have fun. Good times, good times. Chiori is from Inazuma but lives in Fontaine. She is a seamstress. If I can, I will find a way to get her into a team. She does need another geo, so that makes geo constructs. So it is kind of, you don't have to, but it does make her damage better. Yeah, she's a seamstress, and she's very straightforward to tell you how it is. If you mess with her, you will get kicked out of her store. Claran is probably an ass. Yeah, she's kind of the bodyguard for Neuvillette, not that he probably needs it. And she works closely with Risley as well, and she is friends with Navia, although they don't really want to talk. Well, Claran, I don't know, there was something between them that I think it had to do with Navia's parents. They didn't really talk much when you saw them, so they're friends now. They play D&D together. Seedrin. Now, Seedrin is that other part of that team that I mentioned that I would kind of mismatch and put together, I guess you could say. Seedrin is a Melusine from Fontaine. She is the head nurse at the Fortress of Meripede, which is run by Risley. A little backstory on her. She befriended a human who got sick, but Seedrin knew that she could do something to help and heal her. But obviously, the humans didn't trust a Melusine, and she turned herself into a human so she could save her friend. She did save her friend, and Seedrin accepted the punishment of having to be sent to the Fortress of Meripede, where she decided that she would stay and continue to look after the health of the inmates. She is very sweet, very adorable, and she's another person that you cannot mess with. I love her very much. Sethos is probably a C. He kind of felt like a filler character when he came out, but I I would liken him to Sino. They are both from Sumeru, and they have a kind of they do have a link towards together to do with a I don't remember the soul of some god, maybe? I'm not too sure exactly who it was, but there's a link between them and they have a similar sense of humor, I believe. Emily is from Fontaine. She was kind of thrown in, I think, during Natlin, which it felt kind of out of place. I do like how she plays and her character is alright. Yeah, I think A works for that. Yeah, I think she helps with forensics for crimes in Fontaine, and she also makes perfume. She's an interesting character. Milani is quite fun. I don't think I've picked her too many times for my party. It's unfortunate because I do like her. And she has a cute shark. She has a cute shark. Kachina, I'd probably also put in B. She has a spinning top. Yeah. I don't know what to say more about Kachina, I guess. Kanich. I probably don't pick Kanich very often. I think for the amount of times I've done this, I'm pretty sure my actual placement for some of these people in these tiers has changed over time because I rethink how I was going to do things, and I'm a bit more subjective and maybe picky. I don't know. I don't know how to say. I'm going to put Shalon in S. Kanich. So Kachina, Kanich, Mulani are all from Natlin. They're from different tribes in Natlin. Shalon is also from Natlin. She kind of makes machines and whatnot for various people in Natlin, and one of them is Chaska. Chaska's kind of a peacekeeper in Natlin, so if people are having a disagreement, she'll kind of come along and be like, okay, sort your shit out. And if you don't, she might bang their heads together and knock them out. I don't know. She doesn't tend to go for violence, I don't think, but if she can avoid it. I think that's how she tries to do it. Auroran's a good boy. We'll put him in S as well. He's not... I wouldn't say he's very well versed in human interactions, I guess you could say. He's very I'll grow my vegetables and raise my aphids. And his compliments are like calling you a round cabbage or something, but that's a good thing in his eyes. He's just sweet. He's a sweet boy. I would compare him to how Ito does stuff, I guess. But Ito's not quite like that. Ito's just fun, and Aurora is he's a sweet, pure-hearted boy. Mavoika I'd probably put in A. So Mavoika is the Archon of Natlin. She has a motorcycle, which is an interesting thing to have, and yeah. Like, they're all like tribes and stuff. Motorcycle is so strange. Jaska flies around on a gun, so I guess it wasn't that weird, but that's not what I expected, you know? Sitlali, I quite often pick, but I might put her in... no, I think Sitlali I'd put in more teams than I would Mavika. She's a good shielder and flies around on a giant pillow, so, I mean, whatever you want to take from that. She's also drunk, but that doesn't really affect too much of my thoughts on it. I guess she's just silly and fun, I guess. Lanyan is from Liyue. She's from a region they added later, which I already did Garming. Garming also came from that region as well. Lanyan's okay. She's a sweet girl, but I probably would pick a couple other people over her. Varessa, I don't know, something to say about Varessa. Varessa was one of them that kind of had some controversial stuff about her, which was unfortunate. She's a really good character, in my opinion. I love her. I love her the way she is. She is so nice and so innocent and so lovable. I don't know where these people get their complaints from, honestly. I enjoy my game. And that's all that matters. Yansan's probably a C, I think. Varessa's also from Natlan. I don't know if I said that. Yansan's also from Natlan. They're from the... I can never remember all the factions' names. I think it's called Valley of Plenty. They pretty much just run everywhere, those guys. I think a lot of people were disappointed that Yansan was not as important as she was, because she was the face of the roadmap, I think, for that one. So it is a little unfortunate, but I don't know what we were expecting, to be fair. She's still, she has her uses. Scovier is probably ass. Gordon Ramsay of Genshin Impact. She is from Fontaine. And part of the team that has Shenhe and Farina that I use. If you're familiar with Genshin, you might know who my DPS then is that point. And I mean, yeah, she's just a good, honest character, really. I love Aoife. Would I put him A? If I'm in Natlan, I will probably always pick him if I want a healer, because your other healer is Shalonen. But I'll probably always pick Aoife, I think, for that one. That sounds about right. Aoife's a veterinarian, so he looks after the animals, so he's a good, honest guy too, and I think he's good friends with Auroran. Auroran he's got a good judge of character, that boy. We'll go over to Dahlia. I will probably put Dahlia in C. I think that seems right. Dahlia kind of just makes a shield and buffs attacks. Dahlia is the deacon, I believe, of the Church of Avonius, so he can kind of boss around both Barbara and Rosaria, I believe, but good luck bossing Rosaria around, and nobody needs to boss Barbara around because she's already doing good things. Now we're into Nodcry. Where would I put Anefa? Anefa is probably... I do pick Anefa a lot these days. So, Anefa is a robot with a ancient dragon core from Natlan that was used to help build her. So that's kind of important, I guess. But it's kind of just her power core, I guess. And the one who made her is Aino, who I do pick often, but I probably won't put S. I'll put her in A. She's like a genius kid who makes a lot of machines, Anefa being one of them. Their dynamic is very cute. It's like caregiver and a child kind of thing. Is quite adorable. I will put Lauma in S. I have a soft spot for Lauma because I could have put her S+, I guess, in that sense. Although I hadn't done it in any of my other attempts of this. But I guess I could. I don't know. I put child in there. I'll put her very high S. And the reason... Dear move. The reason I put her there is because the very early iterations of Ultima, she was a deer. And Lauma is also a deer, and Lauma is very, kind of like, she feels very ethereal and regal. She's very kind. She like heals people, that kind of thing. And that was kind of the inspiration for my original designs for my character going forward. But obviously, Ultima turned into a different kind of character. So I do have a very soft spot for her. So she can be high S, the very, very high S. Lens is also an S. He's actually from Snezhnaya, but he's in Nordcry. Lama's Nordcry as well. So he lives in Nordcry. He is a light keeper. He himself is a fae, which just takes on the appearance of a lantern, a flame in a lantern, or as this person, so he doesn't scare people by being a talking fire. He's very strong, very silly, but also very serious. Very like deadpan face jokes, that kind of guy. I'll let Nafa in S as well. An intelligence broker, I believe, would be how to put it. Maybe. And Nodcry, very similar to how Yalan works, but Nafa is her own boss. Yehoda is her right hand. I'd probably put Yehoda in... Honestly, I'd probably put her in B. I don't often pick Yehoda, I guess you could say. Durin is an interesting boy. Durin is a combination of two dragons. So he's the storybook dragon that Wanderer got quite attached to, I guess. You could say, you know, he ended up caring about him. And then Albedo put the Dragonspine Durin, which is the bad dragon, and kind of combined the storybook dragon and the bad dragon into this adorable little boy who is trying to act more mature, but he is very sweet. And yes, he is more recent, so he's probably more often picked, but he's easy to play, and Pyro is hard to come by for all fields, so. And he's just a sweet boy. Columbina is the moon goddess of Nordcry. She had some issues existing, I guess, would be the easiest way to put that. And now she's alright now. She used to be a Fatui Harbinger, but she decided to quit, which is kind of fair enough, I guess. And in the most recent patch, which will be coming soon, we go to the moon, which is, well, as the moon goddess, that's one of her homes. The home is Nordcry. And she's in a lot of teams these days. Zabai is she's technically from Liyue, but I believe she is an envoy of Celestia to some degree, which is where the angels and the heavenly principles do all their stuff, I believe. Maybe not Celestia all the way, but she'd kind of go... the idea was she's supposed to go back and forth. I think she's also technically an Adepti. But a high tier Adepti, I guess you could say. But she's friends with Zhongli. That's all that matters there, I guess, at that point. Igua, I'd probably put in B with Yehoda, I think. He's also one of the Light Keepers. He does a reaction that's recent, so he gets picked a bit more, but he's not necessarily necessary. Linnea is quite a good character, good healer, does good damage. I think I've got to a point where I'm doing how I used to, whereas I'm pretty sure I skipped a lot of the early things. But that's fine. I'm doing this in record time, so that's insane. Varka, that's not how that works. Varka is the actual Grandmaster of the Knights of Avonius. He tends to hang out in Nodcry, not to necessarily avoid paperwork, but he'll probably say that anyway. And he's a bit of a drunk, but he's a responsible drinker. I hope. I think I wish his DPS was better. So I maybe would actually put him in A. Yeah, we'll put him in A. I'm sorry, Barker. For me personally, I think that's probably on my part. Maybe I will put him back there. Although I put Nouvelette down here because I was bad at playing him. If I could have it my way, maybe that'd all be an S. No, I don't think that would be quite how it goes. I put Nicole in S. I might actually put her in A. Nicole is part of the Hexen Circle. She's an angel who speaks to you in your head. She actually doesn't. She can't speak like a normal person. She likes being with other Hexen Circle people that have done the witch's homework. She's alright. I think she quite often wants to be in a certain team, so I might not always set that team up. So I guess that's why I'll put her there. Krona's relatively new. I'll put her in B as well. I think she's from Nodcry, but is in Mondstadt? I can't. I don't know. No, she's from Nodcry, but last I saw her she was in Mondstadt. She's trying to hunt down the Hexen Circle or something. For whatever reason she said it was. Jim very much. She's trying not to act like a kid, but she is a kid. But she wants to be taken more serious, so Lohan is part of the Knights of Avonius. He's pretty battle hungry, that guy. I haven't spent too much time with him. His playstyle is actually not bad. I have actually enjoyed it. I might put him in A, actually. He's kind of crazy. But is that a good thing? Okay, and Sandrone I will put in S. So Sandrone has just come out, but she has been around in the story for a little bit. She's quite often paired with Columbina. She's another Fatui Harbinger. She is a Sun, but quite like how Wanderer is a Sun. Sandrone has her moments where she kind of she can't fight against Columbina's antics, and they're very sweet and very cute together. Now, on to the two characters, because there are, bring this down, there are 4 down here, but these 2 are new, and I know pretty much nothing about them, other than some visuals I have seen of them, so they will not be part of this list, but it's these 2. I'm going to move out of the way. These 2. So, Yai is pretty important for Ultima and all of her things because, and I'll just come over here so I can show it off. So Yai is a yokai from Inazuma. She is a kitsune. She also has a parody of the Yais from Honkai Impact 3rd, which is not really relevant, but is, and she has her iteration in Star Rail called Evanesia. Very fond of all of those girls, but it's my tails. During Yai's ult, she has very ethereal purple-looking tails, and I took that as inspiration for Ultima's tails. Technically, Ultima doesn't have to have tails. She can have whatever she wants, because she has a giant rift in the opening on her back. that spans pretty much the nape of her neck to like her tailbone. It's just open. Obviously, you can't see it, but that's where the tails come from, and that was inspired by Yai. I love Yai very much. She is a sneaky, sly fox, much like how a kitsune is anyway. She is good friends with Raiden, and she's from Inazuma. She runs Narukami Shrine. She's a shrine maiden. I love Yai very much, and the inspiration for how I did my tails comes from her. So she is a very special character to me. And along with that is Skirk. I'll zoom out for me now. So I don't know if I've really shown off myself fully before, but here I am in full with my arms. If I change my arms like this, so you can see them a little better. I technically don't have limbs. I don't have arms and legs. So all the portions of me with the space sections are missing. Skirk has those too. I don't want to credit Skirk for me doing that for Ultima. I think I was already thinking about it anyway, because when you get sad, you want to blow away with the wind and disintegrate kind of thing. And I liked that idea. So I think I was already thinking about it anyway, but Skirk's presence kind of solidified that in my design. So I went with that. I went for non-symmetrical. So as you may have noticed, one of my legs is missing more than the other. Same with my arm and my hand. The chest is missing, and obviously, like I said, the back paw, my Ultimate's whole back is missing as well. There is a lot behind that one, but that is for another day because this is a tier list. And yes, so Skirk is my DPS of the main team that I love very much. At the moment, she is also Child's teacher, the one who taught him how to fight. So yeah, that. Oh, I got a little big there. So yeah, that is my tier list, and a little kind of behind the making of Ultima, I guess. There are some characters from some other games that eventually I will talk about, I guess, as eventually I'll make something where I talk about my inspiration for Ultima and how I came to be the way that I am. But yeah, Yai and Skirk I think influenced it a little bit. But I still am unsure about how much Skirk influenced. She might have also helped me figure out how I wanted to do the clothing, but I don't know about that one. I think I might have already decided on that one prior, but I'll give her half credit. I'll give Skirk half credit. But yeah, I think helped me with the tails, and the rifts were better implemented, I think, on Skirk's behalf and solidified for that. Because the spacey stuff is just it's just my favorite. So yeah. I hope you enjoyed this. It was a lot of yapping. It certainly wasn't the 3 hours that I did previously, so hopefully this went alright. And yeah. Like, comment, subscribe if you want. Let me know. Do you know Genshin? Do you have a favorite character? Or if not, from the characters that you saw, were there any in particular that piqued your interest? Maybe you'd like to see them in game? which I could probably do. You want to see? Maybe I could do that actually. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I will see you guys again soon when we delve into the new update for Genshin. I'm really excited for it. And I want to show you again another game that I really love, because we did that with Resident Evil. And I know that this is probably really out of the blue, because I didn't say that we were caught up in Anfield, did I? we are at the moment. If you want to see character stories for that though, let me know. And maybe those can be some shorter ones that maybe you'll get some special episodes on different dates. Maybe we could do that. But let me know. Let me know what you think. But yeah, look after yourselves, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.